Welcome. Happy New Day, everybody, and welcome to day 11 of 40 days of well-being concepts. Thank you for those of you who are here in the room, and Happy New Year. Because the vernal equinox is actually the start of a new year. We have equal amounts of day and night light, and the hours rather of the day and the night are balanced. And so that's our true new year. That's a true start where we spring forth to start the astrological new year as well. So today's concept from my book, Balance is a Juggling Act, is actively shift brain frequencies for balance. But before we get into that, I want to remind us all why we're doing this. We're doing this because we recognize the healing power of not being attached to our thoughts. We're doing this because we want to break the knee jerk and habitual reactions that we have and respond instead of reacting. And we're doing this because we get to realize how much our thoughts impact our daily lives and create our future. And then we also get to see and grow to who we are beyond our old thoughts so that we can release any past conditioning and see what it's like to actually be ourselves. So, we enter the second phase of the book, which is self observation. The book is in four phases. The first we finished yesterday, which was awareness. Today we're into self observation. The third phase is self encounter, and the fourth is conscious living, where we're actually living this out every day. And as we discussed in phase 9, we're going to talk about brain waves today. I'm sorry, as we discussed in concept 9, we're going to talk about brain waves today. So we have 5 brain waves that are conducive to various states and activities. And once we know about them, we're able to comprehend and move through these frequencies that helps us to have clearer thinking and overall well-being. So the first state that we usually talk about is the beta state. And the beta state is ordinary waking life. And every brainwave has a certain range of hertz or frequency. And for beta, that's 13 to 30 hertz. And then we have alpha, which is really deep relaxation. And that range of frequency is 8 to 13 hertz. And after alpha is theta. And in theta, we have 8 to 3.5 hertz. And then following theta, we have delta, which is 3.5 to zero point 0.5 hertz. And normally, those are the states that you hear about, but there's also a fifth state, gamma. And gamma is 30 to 100 hertz. So when we're looking at these hertz, the faster they are and the closer they are in space, generally, it's the less space that we have for balance. For example, beta has hertz of 13 to 30 hertz. And so those brain waves are close together and they're moving pretty rapidly and they peak high. And I'm going to put a copy of a brainwave chart into the message section after we finish this live so that you'll have it to look at in the future. And then, so this is the norm. Alpha starts to slow down at 8 to 13 hertz, and the brain waves, the waves are further apart. And then in theta, again, slows down more, The waves are more spacious, and in those space, there's space for more conscious thought. For example, theta represents meditation. And then you have delta. And in the delta phase, you're slowing down even further, 3.5 to zero point 0.5 hertz. And now you have deep sleep. But in gamma, gamma is the total opposite. The gamma brain wave actually goes the fastest. And the gamma brain wave is all about quick insights. Like it's a knowing that comes to you that is not questioned. So sometimes when we have intuitive thought, we it comes to us and we're like, maybe, maybe not. But with gamma, the information comes to you. It's a knowing, and it's just pure. And so it's associated with high states of creativity and peak performance and just creation of new things that we bring into this world. So, what would be helpful, I think, for today is to talk about how to shift those brain waves, right? Because we're actively shifting brain frequencies for balance. That's the topic for today. And it's some of them are pretty basic. For example, meditation, we know, takes us into slower, deeper brain waves. And then you have to really first, as we talked about in the well-being concept, know what state of being that you're in. First, know where you are, and then from there, you can shift. Because if you don't know where you are, how do you really determine where you're going? So, first of all, um, know what state you're in, and then from there, you can use other tools. Then meditation, you've got brainwave entrainment, which is listening to binaural beats and other sounds and frequencies, even the ocean that helps you to shift brain waves. And sometimes we want to shift up. We want to shift into beta if we've got a heavy task in hand. There's binaural beats for that or frequency music for that. And then sometimes we want to shift down to into more meditative states and use the example that I gave the other day. If we want to shift from high beta when we've been working really hard and we want to go to sleep, then we need to shift into an alpha state. And the easiest way to do that when you're feeling, let's say, too agitated to meditate is to simply put the music on. Music and breath work are the quickest ways to get to a brain state that you would like to be in that suits your activity. And then another tool is to use your environment, shift your environment, go out in nature, go out by the sea, you know, go to a space that has a calming energy for you. So, with that, I'm going to get to today's well being concept, which is actively shift brain frequencies as needed for balance. As you can see from the brain frequency image, and I'm going to show you that image, which may not be all of that clear, but I am going to drop the image into the message area here. It's alpha, beta, gamma, delta, theta, alpha, beta is shown on this particular chart. And it says each brainwave or frequency has a purpose that influences well being. You're constantly shifting brain frequencies in response to what you are thinking about and what is going on in your environment. So today's reading, actively shift brain frequencies as needed for balance, is, as you can see from the brain frequency image, the key to mental well being lies in your frequency. As you move throughout a 24-hour day, You may experience the brain firing from delta to high beta frequencies. And while actively learning, you want to be in the beta frequency for active attention and focus. To the extreme, the high beta frequency represents a state of restlessness. In this frequency, you experience a lot of mental noise and it uses a lot of mental energy. The voice in your head dominates, and it's easy to become trapped by thoughts. For relief, you can shift to a brain frequency deeper than thinking. When tapping into higher states of consciousness during meditation or sleep, you move to lower frequencies of alpha, relax, focused attention in the present moment. Theta, which is creativity and intuition, and delta, which is restorative sleep. Alpha is the brain's resting state, it's a neutral point. Theta is characterized by long, deep breaths, versus high beta on the other end of the spectrum being characterized by short, shallow breaths. Since brain frequency follows the breath, you can use conscious deep breathing to shift brain frequencies. Binaural beats also facilitate this process. Gamma is the highest frequency, yet it has the shortest wavelength. Its high frequency provides a burst of energy that yields instant revelation, knowing, and aha moments. You are learning a new way of approaching balancing your energy. Today, as you go through daily activities, observe what brain frequency you are in based on how you are feeling. And also take a look at if that is the brain frequency that is conducive to the task that you have on hand. And now we'll go into the journaling. And as I mentioned yesterday, you've got to take a step beyond just reading and make this an active practice so that it actually starts to expand your mind and transform your life. So we take the time now to do some journaling because oftentimes if we get up, it's not going to happen, right? So we're going to do our morning thoughts. And then during the day, we view and look at how the concept shows up in our lives. And then at night, we're going to do a reflection and do an evening summary and see what insights we gain about actively shifting frequencies as needed for balance. We'll turn off the music, give you a few minutes to journal, and then after that, we'll close out. Mm. Okay. As we close out, I'd like to remind you to think of that saying that goes, every time you attempt to make changes in life, your old life wants to call you back. Don't listen. Don't look back. Make it a new day as you self observe and actively shift brain frequencies for balance. We'll see you tomorrow with day 12 and make it a new day, not just another day.